Hot Off the Stove podcast, episode 15. Guest today, Isabella Bernard.
Oh my god, this is disgusting.
So we have the only two ever in history.
Guess what? It's happening.
Like a 2.
Is it possible to give a 0?
Yes. Hello, welcome to the Hot Off the Stove podcast, episode 15.
Yes, sir.
I'm Griffin Kilgore, your host. Got
I'm
Caleb,
your co-host.
and then we have a great guest today, Isabella Bernard, who is doing some crazy good stuff in the music industry right now. We'll get into that a little later, but I wanted to get started with some big industry news today with Kendrick Lamar dropping the highly anticipated response to Drake's push-ups.
Yes.
I'll start with you, Caleb. What did you think about this?
Kendrick won, bro. It cut deep.
Yeah.
He cut deep.
6 minute long.
6 minute long diss
Beat
is
switches
crazy.
and everything.
I loved like the beginning of it, how it started off slow, like we eased in, and then he just got straight to the point. Like came for like his kid, the gunna mentioned.
He came for his
just
kid?
For being a bad dad.
He called him a bad dad. Like that was crazy, bro. What else happened?
Wait, I actually have a picture of Drake holding his kid and his kid's like crying, and I use it as like a meme.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Caleb,
what was your favorite part about the diss? Like,
I don't know. I think it was just good Kendrick Lamar.
okay.
Like, I really liked the song itself. You can go up and show the camera.
It's just so sad.
Send Caleb that and he'll pop it up.
I'll pop
right
it up
here.
on the
Yeah, please do.
But yeah, I thought it was just like really good Kendrick Lamar. Like the diss hit. The only thing that makes me like a little bit like suspect of this beef is that there hasn't been anything like personal yet. It's all a lot of like stuff that everybody thinks about each other or about each of them, you know? So I'm like waiting for one of them to like do something like highly personal. So we'll see about Drake's response.
I think Kendrick going like, "Oh no, I'm not beefing with you. Everyone hates
Yeah.
you." Like I think that's pretty personal. I think
No, but like there's not
also-
like there's no like gossip, you know?
Yeah,
it's just like hate.
I think like someone like as like influential of the culture as Kendrick Lamar coming out and saying the whole culture hates you.
Yeah.
And then like the hook of the song is saying, "I hate this, I hate that, I'm a hater, and
I hate the way you talk.
Like,
I hate the way you dress.
Like,
Yeah.
and
Drake has
and then
lost
he
his
says-
N-word pass, by the way. Because of this diss.
Kendrick said,
At the end of the song.
Yeah.
He said,
God.
But yeah, to give
Isabella a little rundown because she's been super busy.
right.
She hasn't had the chance.
I know. No, here's the thing. Like, usually I'm on top of the tea. Like, I love hearing the juicy scoop. But recently I've just been like, I've been so busy. So I have not been able to, like, keep up tabs on, like, what's been happening tea-wise in the music industry.
All right,
But
so we about to give you the tea. So basically, have you heard
Resident Insider Caleb Autry.
Right. We're gonna break it down.
If you're going to say, do I know Metro Boomin?
Have you heard? I was gonna ask, have you heard the first "We Don't Trust You" album?
No.
Metro.
Okay, the last time I listened to any of Metro's, like, music was live when I was working Coachella. So.
Okay. So you
subtle
haven't.
flex.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
subtle flex. I worked it.
subtle flex.
Subtle flex.
So you haven't heard like that or any?
No,
Okay.
no. That was like, like the last time I heard him was like 2023. And that was like when like Future came on and they sang like Mask.
Right,
like,
mask off.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically Kendrick had a feature on that album, and he dissed Drake. I'm not sure why did he even diss Drake?
Because Drake allegedly hit up Future's baby mama or like girl.
Okay, so
That's
Wait, are they
Kendrick in
together?
I don't know. But it started when What Would Pluto Do on Drake's For All the Dogs was like
Oh yeah.
basically
yeah,
a diss track against Future, but nobody really realized it. But if you listen to it, it's kind of like Drake saying that he's like, you know, talking with Future's girl. So then Future responds with Metro Boomin and Kendrick on Like That on the first collab album.
He responds all through, "We don't trust you," like Future.
Yeah, that's why I think
there's a lot of
why it's called "We Don't Trust You" low key.
Maybe,
well,
yeah.
okay, but what about like the baby mama? Like, did anyone ask the woman what her perspective was?
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about it. I don't even know who
but
it is.
She's not like in the public eye. At all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
I think it's just
okay.
like a girl that knew both them.
Right.
And kind of Drake went behind Future's back.
Okay.
Apparently, that's according to the.
Oh, so
Twitter.
he like so
That's
he
DJ Academic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
he
Take that
broke
with a
bro
grain,
code
grain
basically.
of salt.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess like, but I think like the industry just hates Drake in general, and I feel like
That's true.
yeah.
I mean, he
Like
was on
Kendrick-
Degrassi. I feel like that's a rough start.
Nah, yeah,
Lost some
Yeah.
cred.
Well, he was on Degrassi. He was in like a wheelchair and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was a.
I was
That's
like,
the
you can't
Michael
be
Jackson
playing
shit?
someone in
Yeah,
a wheelchair.
yeah.
I was like, Drake.
yeah. But yeah, Kendrick came for Drake, came for Cole too,
Yeah.
a little bit, and then Cole responded first, right?
And then he
but then
deleted
Cole
it.
apologized, which was
A whole
I'm not
thing.
gonna get into that.
And then he deleted
He
it.
deleted the whole project that he dropped in response to Kendrick.
Oh.
Drake dropped Push Ups, which was a relatively good, I would say, diss track. And in that diss track, he came at The Weeknd, he came at Metro, he came
Future,
at Future, Rick
Kendrick.
Ross.
Rick Ross.
Um,
Ja Morant.
yeah, Ja Morant. And then Rick Ross responded.
That doesn't
and-
count though.
Yeah, that was
That was
some
horrible.
bullshit. And then
No, I like Rick Ross.
Dude, Rick Ross, like
he was going
Rick,
to
I
BBL.
don't even know why. Like,
I mean, like, how did Rick Ross even get involved in this? I guess it was because he was on the album,
Yeah.
right? With
Yeah.
Future.
I guess everybody that was on that album, Drake
Yeah.
responded to.
Yeah.
And then Drake dropped another diss via social media, and
Oh,
he used
God.
AI to put Tupac's voice and who was I think
Snoop.
Snoop. He put Tupac and Snoop's voice on the diss that he wrote.
Like, was Snoop
with
okay
AI.
with this?
No, no.
No, like that's he took it down now because I guess like
Oh, yeah.
Well, he got a
'cause, like-
cease and desist from
Yeah.
Tupac's estate.
so he couldn't
Yeah.
keep it
Because,
up.
the
But
AI.
Well, I don't think anyone really wants to be
Yeah.
affiliated
And
with
it's just
Drake.
very weird for like a artist of that like pedigree of Drake, like to use AI like that. And then
Yeah.
also there's like, you know, I forget who, but there were a bunch of like prominent artists that signed the letter to Congress
Right.
that said like, please take action
yeah,
on like
I don't
music
understand
AI regulation.
like some of those artists getting into like I don't know, like people that passed away stuff. Like Kim Kardashian with like the Marilyn Monroe dress.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, why we gotta wear her dress? Can't we
Yeah.
just let that like relic die
It's a
with,
little
with her?
weird.
It is weird. I'm like the same thing with AI.
I think
There's
Drake,
like a line
Drake just
of-
likes to it's war to him, like just like Kanye said
Yeah.
on that Drink Champs
Yeah.
interview. Like
Yeah.
it's like Drake is he. Has
I mean,
the
I
art
get
of
like
war,
it makes sense, but
yeah,
like it
but-
also is
Yeah.
like a weird like co-op.
It is
Like
weird.
especially when you're in a beef and like you're fighting for like, you know, you want people to declare you the winner.
Yeah.
When they think about that, they're going to be like that's kind of a weird thing you had to like
Yeah, I wouldn't just
utilize.
with like dead people, just let them rest.
Yeah.
They literally say rest in peace. Let them rest. Like don't
Yeah.
bring them into this.
I mean, he only did it because like Kendrick likes to compare himself to like
Yeah.
he is the like the Tupac
West
of his
Coast.
generation. He is like
Yeah.
the West Coast like.
But then after that today, after like 3 weeks, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Since push-ups.
Kendrick dropped his this
Yeah, his response.
which was
Tea.
I would say
Euphoria.
amazing. It was called it was called Euphoria. I loved it. Wow. So
I thought
Now
it was
I have to
good.
go listen to that on my walk
Yeah.
home.
yeah.
I thought it was good. Some really like I think like classic Kendrick moments. in
Bro, it's
there,
really
too.
bringing back like the hype of hip. Like I feel like I haven't been like eager to hear. I feel like we were waiting for Kendrick for a while, and I feel like it brought back the.
I mean, I hope it lights a fire, not only under like Drake and Kendrick to like make more like inspired stuff. Not that like Kendrick doesn't, even
Kendrick-
Drake.
Kendrick kind of took a break for a
Yeah,
hot
Yeah.
minute.
yeah. But I guess like what I'm saying is like their albums, like, or at least his albums. Like I thought Mr. Morale was pretty good and like
I
came
love that
from like
album.
an inspired
All the
place.
Kendrick albums are great. Like,
But I hope it like pushes like other artists to like continue to create like inspired stuff and not just throw out 20 song
Right.
bloated albums that, you know, basically just get put out because they know that they're going to do like
actually
decent enough
intentional-
streaming.
intentional
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
Because
God.
I thought, I mean, I think We Don't Trust You, both those are really intentional.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it was well done.
I think, but I do think it was kind of a little bit underwhelming. I will say both. Of
The
those.
albums?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, we talked
But
about it
we
last
talked
week,
about it,
but
but
I
but
disagree.
yeah, let's. What do
don't
you
know.
listen to, Isabella? Like, what's your go-to?
It depends on like the day, honestly, and how I'm feeling.
Mhm.
Mood-based music.
Yeah, actually, for every single month, I create a new playlist based off of like how I'm feeling for that month, and it's kind of like a theme song, I guess, because like I think of my life as like a soundtrack. I'm like,
I feel that.
I am the main character. I must have a soundtrack, which is like, I don't know, kind of full of myself, I guess. But that's just like the only way I convince myself to like get up in the mornings. Like there was one month I remember like last year that was just raining, so I literally named that playlist like Philly in the Rain, and I just put a bunch of stuff. But I also have like a running playlist because I run. I was like doing like half marathon running last year. Don't even know how I did that, but I listened to a lot of Kendrick on that. I was like, ooh, this kind of lights a fire to like get me going. But right now I'm listening to Midnight Pretenders.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Well, I can't even pronounce the artist. I don't even think, because it's like Japanese. But basically it's the sample that The Weeknd took for Out of Time. Yeah, it's like that one's like a pretty good one.
It's called that genre's called city pop, right?
Yes, yeah, like Japanese city pop.
Yep.
I've been listening to some of that. I've been listening to like the Wallows.
Is the Wallows the 13 Reasons Why guy?
Yes. Okay. Oh, I love him. I met him. He's so sweet. He like shook my hand. He was like, "Hi, I'm Dylan." I was like, "Oh, I know who you are."
Wait, was it at Netflix or?
No, it was at Coachella. We were actually like in the pit.
Subtle flex.
Subtle flex
crazy.
Again.
It's just crazy flexing.
Well, so this was the
that
first
Netflix,
time.
or was that
This was actually the first time I worked Coachella. Yeah, so I've worked it multiple times.
Wait, so
obviously.
what was the time? Like, did you work at Netflix first, or was it the same time, or was it like
So-
what's the timeline of that?
Yeah, so I worked at Coachella first. I got that job sophomore year. I literally was like, "Hey Jeff, can I just peace out for a month to go live in California and work Coachella?" He was like, "Sure." He's like, "Coachella, fine." So I worked that. Got offered to go back again last year. Went back. Then after that, or actually, I think it was before Coachella. Yeah, it was before Coachella. I got the Netflix job, but I had already secured the Coachella gig before securing the Netflix gig. So
I want to ask because people say that Coachella's been going downhill in the past few years. You went. Is it apparent that it went downhill? Or?
I don't think it's like apparent that it went downhill. I think that there has been some like tech issues that I have seen happen, but overall, I mean, Golden Voice really has their stuff down pat. I have to give it to them. Like they know how to run a festival. Right. As for like artists, I think things happen with artists that make them sometimes a little unprepared. For like the desert climate, it's really hard to perform there. Like I worked out there and I was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. Like I was not having it. Actually, I was so like basically high on liquid IV. Like, you know those like packets of like, oh, that was the only thing getting me through.
That's
like
crazy.
when I say like I'm high on that shit, sorry, I don't mean to curse.
No, you can say whatever.
Okay.
Sorry for cussing.
Sorry for cussing.
Sorry for cussing.
Just do like the censor, like beep. Anyways.
Now you can say whatever the fuck.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Okay,
I
cool.
think I just posted a reel of Dan saying "fucking fuck."
Yeah. I was like, this is my fucking.
No, this is actually my plea to Liquid IV. Please sponsor me. No, I loved Liquid IV. We would actually like trade them in the back, like back of house and everything. We'd be like trading them. I was like, this is kind
Black
of like
market.
this.
Liquid
It is.
IV.
It was. Someone like whipped out one day like tangerine, and I was like,
Never seen
I
it.
audibly gasped, and I was like,
favorite flavor?
ooh, that's hard. I think like ginger lemon. Most people think I'm gross for
lemon.
liking that, but I really like a ginger lemon one. Like a
I don't know. I'm not like
matcha.
very like tapped into the liquid
Yeah,
IV
me
like flavors.
neither.
This is a music podcast. This is not a liquid IV. We're not well versed.
Back
in that
on topic.
world.
Yeah. Well, back on topic. No, but I do think that I don't think it's gone downhill in the sense that like everyone thinks it has. I just think that it's catering to different people's needs, and I think also the desert is a very unpredictable place. There was one day where like Billie Eilish was literally performing in a sandstorm.
That's crazy.
And I was like, this kind of, well, it's crazy because like she did it and was like amazing. Kudos to her. But it also kind of like sucked a little because her show relied on a lot of production aspects. And because of the sandstorm, it kind of like disrupted all of that.
Right.
and it was like a mess. And then, there was also like last year, that was the first year I worked it. And then last year there was the infamous Frank Ocean situation. So being in the middle of that was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah. So like, what exactly were you doing like at the festival? Like, were you like running? Because I've worked at Made in America, and like my main thing was like
RIP Made in America.
Yeah, RIP Made in America, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But like my main thing was like running back and forth and like delivering stuff to stages. But like, what was your like stuff?
Yeah,
like,
so
what was your like job?
Yeah, so it was under festival operations. I was like will call and box office. So actually, I was stationed off of Coachella's grounds at Empire Polo Club, and basically I was just like learning pulse, like navigating, just how to like give out tickets and stuff like that, which are like your wristbands, activating them. And honestly, it was like a really great way to learn how the music industry makes our money, especially off of like the live music industry, like ticketing, and those wristbands cost a lot of money. And another thing too is like if you lose those wristbands, like it says it in the email, like you're gonna have to pay a replacement fee, and so many people like don't care about their wristbands, like are just so willing to just buy another one. And I'm just like, wow, money. Imagine having that.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's actually like really insane, but it was a really great learning experience. The people that I worked with are like super, super kind. Just festival people are just super fun to be around in general. And then after I was done like my shifts there, I would then go like on site, and I could do like whatever, like go see whatever show I want, eat food, hang out. So it was like a really fun time. Like it was a nice reward.
Yeah,
and then I also got
the
paid.
Festival, on top of getting paid to go.
Yeah, literally, it was like getting paid to go. So it was really fun. But I mean, obviously, my first thing was to work and to like help, navigate any situations that were happening, any problems that arose. Like I would have to either work with like the person that was in charge, or help like someone else like right next to me. So it's a lot of like problem solving and just like being on the ball about everything.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big festival that just like if anything fucks up, like it's just probably like a headache. Like many stages,
I think it's a little more than a headache.
Yeah, like it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On stages that large.
Yeah, but like again, the desert, it's wild out there.
The climate. Well,
yeah.
You were also, I mean, this is probably the biggest thing. You're the inaugural music creative intern at Netflix last year, which is now Caleb is the second music creative intern at Netflix. Yes. So we have the only two ever in history right here. So I guess kind of get into, how that came about and some of the fun stuff that you worked on last summer there.
Yeah. So I guess like the beginning of the story has to start with my first co-op. I was interning at a studio in Philadelphia, and one of the owners, I came in while I was like literally just cleaning, like one of the studios. It was a really prominent artist. I can't mention who they are, but wow, they make a mess in the studio. I was like, they were a country artist, and I was cleaning up like tobacco spit. It was terrible. So I was like really jonesing to like get out of there. And finally, like the owner walks in. He walks in that studio. He goes, "Hey, can you sing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can sing a tune or two." And so I went into the studio thinking like it was just some jingle or whatever, like a stupid song. And he was like, "Yeah, so I'm actually the director of a film, and I want you to be the temp vocalist for this soundtrack."
That's
and
crazy.
I was like, "What?"
That's the randomest opportunity
like
ever.
It was no, I
From
was like
cleaning up tobacco spit to in the span of 15 minutes.
I know. I felt like Cinderella in that moment. I was like, wow, this is my rags to riches. So that was kind of like the first moment I realized, post-production's a thing, and that's like a career in the music industry. Because before I always thought, yeah, post-production, that's just film people.
Right.
That's just production, TV, whatever. That's just not my career.
Right.
I majored in music industry. That's, record labels. That's whatever else, entails like being an artist, being a musician, like touring and stuff like that, management, promotion. So I never really thought of like sync as a career. And that was the first moment I realized. So then after that, it was kind of just a race to get the classes under my belt of like music supervision, licensing, copyright, all of that. And really questioning where I was going to go after that. So I was talking to Monica Julian.
Future guest on the podcast.
Future guest. Oh, love her. She's such a slay. Anyways. So I was talking to Monica, and I originally applied to be like kind of a Foley artist for this company called Riot Games, and they didn't hire me. So I was super bummed. Well, okay, in all fairness, I'm not really that passionate about Foley. It was one way of getting into post-production, so I kind of saw it as like an in. But I didn't get it, unfortunately, so, Riot, whatever. And then right after that, Monica sent me, after like I got like the rejection letter, the link saying that Netflix was hiring a music creative and production intern. Now, when I applied, I had no idea that this was like the first time that that it was ever running, period. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll apply.
Give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot. It's probably not going to go anywhere. And then a few weeks, like 2 weeks later, I guess, I got an email in my inbox saying like, hi, Isabella, I'm your like recruiting, lead person. And we really love to like what you had to say in your application, and we want to talk to you in person. So when's a good day to like schedule an interview? I like called my dad. I was like, Dad, it's happening. It's happening. He was like, dork, you didn't get the job. I was like, I
you
know.
have 5 more rounds of interviews.
No, literally. So the first round, actually, Caleb and I had the same interviewers.
Andy, shout out Andy.
Yeah, so the first person was Andy. Andy interviewed me. Andy Goen. Yeah. He is, so he was the music supervisor before working at Netflix for BoJack Horseman, which was super cool. Yeah. I literally was talking to my dad. I was like, should I tell him that I really like emotionally connect with BoJack? He was like, you should not tell him that. He was like, don't.
Yeah, BoJack's a interesting character.
I was like,
too.
Dad, but BoJack. Oh,
wait, did you say his name was Andy Goen?
Yeah.
That's a really good name for some
right?
jokes. And he going.
Yeah.
And he going.
And he's from Vacaville, which is Cowville, Cowtown.
Bacalaville.
Yeah, because vaca in Spanish is cow.
Huh.
I'm fluent in Spanish too.
I'm not.
Yeah. So
I took German in high school.
Why?
German?
Yeah. I thought I was cool, I guess. But yeah, it was. Well, I took German, and I was the last class that was offered German. They didn't take any more students, so I was the final German class at my high school, and it was just kind of sad. Because the teacher like kind of knew that she was losing her job or like being transitioned into something else after, but it was like they had to offer German all the way through because like some colleges require like 3 years of it. So like, I would have been, they would have like totally messed me up because then I would have had to take 2 years of German and then maybe like 2 years of Spanish, whatever. So it was like a very sad like 3 years German. But I know ich bin. I am. That's about all I remember.
Danke.
Guten Morgen. Good morning.
Oh.
Good morning.
All right, let's get back to this Netflix story. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. So Andy, he met Alex. I just guess like by like working in the same, because back then like music supervision was so new. Like there was probably like a handful, like 40. Was that you or that me?
That was me, and I'm sorry. It was Storage Scholars. Family.
Yeah.
Classic Dan getting us off track.
Yeah, twice in 30 seconds.
He was silent for like 20 minutes. I was like, this is scary.
Because that's a good story, and I like didn't want to get off topic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it not a good story now, and now you gotta get us off topic?
My phone buzzed.
What do you have against Andy?
Yeah, Andy's name came up, and boom, Dan was like,
Yeah.
vendetta against Andy, bro.
It's like this dude interviewed us, and he going places.
Yeah, he really was going places.
Now
he's at Netflix.
It's like regular old word, but it's his name.
So Andy interviewed both of you.
Yeah. So Andy interviewed both of us. He met Alex because back then, music supervision was such a small kind of career. Like they were, Alex, I guess, is like often credited with making music supervision what it is today. She's super humble about it. If you ask her, she'll be like, stop. And then you'll look at her like credits and you'll see like, wow, you were like
everywhere.
Like she did Grey's Anatomy, and like Bridgerton, Queen Charlotte, like all of those. She's got it down pat. The OC, like insane. I'm sorry, did you say that one already?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, I think another one was like Mad Men.
Yeah, she did Mad Men.
Yeah, Mad Men. So it was just really cool. But anyways, my first interview was with Andy. He asked me a lot about my Latin culture, like why I wanted to get into music supervision, and that was like a big deal. Like I felt that Latin culture isn't really represented in the music industry, especially growing up as a kid and as a mixed kid too, in a neighborhood that was like predominantly white. And it was really weird because while there was like a group of Spanish kids, I was often too white for them, and then too Latino for like the white kids. So it was kind of really hard to find my niche, or like even like a group. And the way that I always felt connected to my roots of like being a mixed kid was by listening to Latin culture, like music and stuff like that. It also like furthered my passion for world music. So the first like show that I ever watched that had any Latin music in it was actually on Netflix. And I remember like going to the store. Wow, I'm like really aging myself now. But, like going to the store to like the little vending machines and like putting in like your coins and then picking a movie, and then it would like dispense out.
Shout out
Redbox.
Shout out
Yes,
Redbox.
like the Redbox. Yes, but it was like a Netflix version. Of
no,
it.
that's what Netflix used to do. Though.
Oh, that's yeah.
And like, did y'all have a Wii? And like,
Yes.
did y'all have the Netflix deep?
Yes.
Like, yeah, I remember that.
Yes,
yeah.
that's literally what it was. So, and then I remember like kind of going back to that moment and thinking like, wow, there's someone actually out there who's like thinking about people like me. Right. And I hope one day that I can do that for someone else, you know, like when they're feeling alone or when they just like want to escape the world or even see like some representation, I can introduce that type of artist, that music through television, through media. So I talked about that during my interview. Andy was like, wow, old soul, good job. He pushed me to the next round. And then the next round was with Alex. And so with Alex, I just talked about my passion for music, what I wanted to get out of Netflix, like what were my flaws, I guess, in like working and like my ethics of, you know, business and stuff like that. Right. Before working at Netflix, I didn't understand fully all of the players of the music industry, and especially with post-production, there's so many people that like go through, and I didn't know like when to talk, and I often had like a lot of self-doubt or just like not a lot of confidence in myself, but I knew that I had a vision, what I wanted to accomplish, and I was like very driven, and I'm very like solution oriented. Like if you give me a problem, I'm gonna solve it. Right. And Alex, for whatever reason, saw something in me and was like, you're it, kid. So literally the next night, like it wasn't even more than 24 hours, I got an email from my recruiter, and he was like, hey, Isabella, do you want to schedule a phone call?
Yep.
And yeah. And so I was like, I called my parents before I even emailed him back.
Yeah.
I was like, I either got the job or I really messed up this interview.
or I'm getting arrested.
Yeah, they were like, or I said something that they were like, yo, we need to talk to you and tell you never to say that ever again. My dad was like, it's probably the latter, kid. So I hung up with my parents. I was like, yep, I'm actually free right now. Here's my phone number. He calls me. He's like, so Alex, right after your interview, talked to me and wants to hire you. And we know that this is like a really fast turnaround and you may be like considering other jobs. So, you know, it's no problem at all if you want to like take some time to think about it. I was like, no, I don't have to think anything. I'm good. He was like, oh, you're good? And I was like, yep, I'll take the job. He's like, so I can tell Alex like right now? I was like, yes, you
Let
can
her
tell
know.
her. Let her know. I'll be coming. And yeah, so that's kind of a really long-winded story of how I got the job at Netflix. But you went through the same process, the same people.
Same process. Shout out Josh too.
Josh.
He was our recruiter. He was the one that called us and let us know.
Josh Sweetelson?
I had Josh Shin. You didn't have Josh Shin?
Oh, no. So Josh Sweetelson is someone else. That's why I was like a little bit confused when you said Josh, because Josh Sweetelson was my intern mentor. And he's so great. He's so great. You'll meet him when you get there.
Yeah, I'm excited. But,
I don't know if he'll be yours, though.
But yeah, I feel like definitely like I relate to like your story, like, and how like you wanted to see more representation within like different stories that people pushed out. That's why I love like the whole Metro Boomin producing the Spider-Man soundtrack, because I feel like we need more like hip hop, more like just like our music within films and just in general within media. I
piggybacking off that, I think it's like important to have like a bunch of voices in the room.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then that way, when like a film like Spider-Man comes up, those voices are able to find the best way to pair music with visual media.
Exactly.
And really create like a singular entity, whether that's, the environment surrounding the movie or the, audio aspect of the movie.
Yeah, especially with characters like Miles.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was a very like synergistic. I hate that word, but like the music was made in such coordination, with the story of the actual film, and you only really can achieve that when there's so many different perspectives that are able to, bring that to the table.
Right.
So I think it's great that music supervision's kind of expanding over the next past few years and hopefully in the future, and like the connection between movies and TVs and visual media and music is like at just an all-time like great level in my opinion. I don't know.
There's definitely been like a greater appreciation for it, especially, I mean, it all comes back to Napster. Every time.
So,
like during the whole like Napster tragedy, I guess, of like the music industry, or at least that's how like all of our professors like label it. They're like, oh, time before Napster.
It's an awakening. I don't think it's a tragedy.
Yeah. Well, hey, to them it was a tragedy.
They went through it, but
they went through it.
Yeah,
but
it's a tragedy when all your money goes away.
I feel like we lived.
Sorry, Caleb.
We lived in the.
Caleb's just an anarchist.
Yeah, he's like, bring it back, bring back Napster.
Caleb wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah, but after like Napster, that kind of like destroyed income for a lot of people, like a lot of artists, and
it was just an awakening.
It was just an awakening, guys. Guys, it was just an awakening.
No one struggled.
It didn't take anything away.
Says the guy who wasn't born yet.
All I'm saying is, I think
this is the youngest person in the room.
I think great things will come from the streaming era once we figure out how to really.
We've only been working at it for 20 years.
Yeah, facts.
Bro, I think.
You think it's fair that artists get such little for their streams?
No, what I'm saying is like
he's on his Alex bullshit. You're on your Alex bullshit.
You think it's fair that Taylor Swift can bot her streams and take up its whole top 14?
Caleb.
No, what do you have to say about that? No, I'm listening.
In the long term, I feel like artists are going to get more power than they even had before the streaming era.
After everyone suffers for years.
So you have faith in the algorithm.
You got to sacrifice a for a stream. Hey, man.
Do not show this to Netflix.
Actually, I get it. So like you just support the Matrix is all.
No, all I'm saying is like I feel like artists are like you see it like with James Blake. I don't really like the business model of that, but like I feel like artists are going to start like pushing more.
You don't have to defend yourself. It's okay.
No, I'm just. I was just
wrong.
I had no. Like I feel like artists are going to start having more like artist to fan relationships because of this.
Yeah.
And I feel like we'll find a way artists will find a way to pay themselves.
You're definitely
rather than Spotify like having to be the middleman eventually.
You're definitely right. And streaming, that was something that I did learn at Netflix. Was like there's a whole streaming section at Netflix where they literally focus on uploading the entire soundtrack to Spotify. That way, not only does it help boost the show and connect audience to what they're listening to on the show, but also it like boosts artists and composers and gives them a chance to gain streams. And one thing that I learned is like the way that money flows. And actually streaming services, I'm not saying that they're great, but when an artist is signed to a label, the label takes a really large chunk out of their streaming royalties. And you also have to think about everything that makes an artist, right? So it's going to be your manager, it's going to be your A&R person, it's going to be like 12 other different guys,
Yeah,
like
and
Larry
everybody gets
Mojo,
paid
out.
you know, and like everyone gets paid out. And then by the time that streaming gets to you, yeah, that's the
Not shit.
0.00001 cent that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So, you know, if an artist was independent, they would be getting all that royalties in one go. But, you know, it does take a village to raise an artist, and it does take a village to get them to certain places. And so, like, I think that's the hard part that the music industry has tried to get around, because while, yes, like, you know, streaming does give revenue, it doesn't give the same kind of revenue as a record does, or as like a tangible product. And so, like, kind of going back to music supervision, I think that's kind of when the appreciation came about, because this was a whole new way for artists to make money, and it comes to them, you know.
I think it's like getting fair value in the artist's mind. Like, you know, when you're licensing your music out, the artist has a little more leverage in these negotiations, and the production companies also have the capital to pay fair value for these songs.
They definitely do.
So I think that's like one of the most or one of the best parts about music supervision, because it seems like a very not lucrative, but a very like sustaining way of doing business for the artists and the people involved with the artists. And it's also good for the production company because they have the freedom to go out and choose kind of utilize their budget in a creative way.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, so it's funny that you mentioned that. A lot of the music budget usually gets taken away because, you know, there's always some part of production that wants more essentially. Yeah. So the first place they look towards is the music pot, and they always take from the music pot. So that's the other like art behind music supervision, is understanding how to get the best bang for your buck and how to find that perfect song that is going to fit the creative's vision, because that's our main job. Our main job is to make sure that everything is buttoned up, that we're making sure that everything is, all of our ducks are in a row so that nothing legal can happen. Like, we have to protect the essence of the show, of the creative. That is our baseline goal. Right. The second is then to really create a moment in time that resonates with people beyond this work. That being people who come from their everyday life and want to just watch a show. And, you know, they hear that song playing, and that makes that scene so much more emotional, like so much more connectable. And not only that, but it also provides artists a whole new way of getting their names out there.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, when they hear that song again outside of the show, they think of, oh, that's the show. Oh, I love this artist. They made like, you know, it's exactly like you said, like it's another way of promoting themselves as an artist and having that, you know, people who might not usually listen to them outside of their core audience.
Yeah. And so it's a really great way, like just as a music supervisor or an aspiring music supervisor, it's a really great way to like give back to artists, but also create something that really resonates with people. Because, you know, that was like the main thing coming into the music industry that I wanted to do, was I wanted to create a moment that people could like just be themselves with a show or with a piece of art, music, whatever. Because I think that there's just so much in the world that's like happening that sometimes you just need a moment to like escape. Yeah. Exactly. Like there's so much hatred in the world, and I think like sometimes there's like, you just want to sit down and just watch something that makes you feel good and like makes you feel happy for once. And like music can really elevate those scenes.
I think like movies without music aren't like, I feel like it's just like music without movies without music. Like to me, music is what defines the genre. Like one thing Jordan Peele said was just like, you can define like horror and comedy based on the music. Like music sets the pace for projects, like for film.
Yeah, I mean, you see those like little like shorts where they like change the music up of scenes.
Yeah,
like
it's
if
a
it's
completely different story.
If it's a horror movie and they put like wacky like sound effects behind it instead of like, you know, high pitched violin.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Well, like imagine if Star Wars, instead of having like an orchestra, had like Pink Floyd all over it.
Yeah.
Like a music supervisor worked on it. That would be like trippy.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
Stoner's
like
favorite.
that's why I've always loved Guardians, because Guardians, like, to me, like, it was just so cool to me that they had like all these like older songs and just like it made like the whole, like, a lot of the cinematography just like was emphasized through those songs. I feel like a lot of the storytelling, a lot of the
other thing too is it highlights Star-Lord's like life.
Yeah, like it's
because he left Earth, like he left Earth and his mom right around that time that music was like
exactly
the sole thing. So then when he's in space, like all he knows is old music because he hasn't been in Earth. Like he hasn't seen the progression of music.
It
so
ties music directly.
And then when
imagine him hearing hyperpop. Holy shit!
Imagine him hearing K-pop.
That would blow his mind.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's actually what
He's seen different worlds. He killed his dad with a planet.
He dated an alien.
Yeah, maybe hyperpop wouldn't do much.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
But
that was the second movie.
I know, but like some people may not have had
came out
time.
in like 2014.
Some people may have not had time.
I do
That's
think
true. I'm sorry, guys. Caleb, got it.
no, we're keeping that in. No, I think it would have been cool like for Guardians 3, because you know how he had the Zoomy or whatever it was called, like the new music device.
Oh yeah.
What was it called? I don't even
Something.
know. Yeah, but I think it would have been cool to have like newer music for that movie.
Yeah,
that would have been dope, because like his old shit got broken. So
that's true.
Because he kind of transitioned. Like,
but I thought it was still from like the 90s.
Was it?
Yeah, I didn't think it was like a.
I gotta watch Guardians 3
Yeah.
again. But yeah.
I forget.
Yeah. Another show that like does it really well is Fallout. If you guys.
Yeah, I just finished
Oh,
Fallout.
I finished
I haven't
Wait,
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I have
what
2 more episodes.
Two more.
Oh,
So good.
It's
It's
okay,
so
do you want
good.
to like leave
But
so
even
we
the-
can talk about
Even the video games, like I remember playing Fallout 4 and like that soundtrack, like I had never heard these songs before. You know, they're from the 50s and 60s,
Right.
and they're not. You know, maybe like a few of them were popular then, but even then, like none of them had a lot of staying power.
Yeah.
And now the streams
outside
are
of
going crazy.
like nostalgia radio.
Oh yeah.
Streams are.
But yeah, I mean that's another excellent like use of music in visual media.
Well, yeah, and it's also like it sets the tone of Fallout because it occurs in like the 50s, 60s, like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
It's like yeah,
and it encapsulates a time, a period, and I think like that's something that's super powerful because we have, and that's what we call a period piece.
Right.
So essentially, when we in music terms, when we say it's going to be a period piece, it means that music has to be from that set period of time. So for an example, like because Fallout happened in the 60s, the music has to stay in the 60s because even though we fast forward like 200 years into the future in Fallout, sorry, spoiler alert, I guess, not really, but because we
I'm
fast
getting hate
forward,
for spoiling a movie from 2014. She's spoiling a show from 2 weeks ago.
yeah, but I'm the guest.
All right, fair. You can do whatever you want.
guest has
Exactly.
free reign.
Just spoil it for Caleb. Actually.
Well,
Don't
no,
spoil that
he
shit.
knows
Don't
that they jumped 200 years.
No, just spoil the ending.
Oh,
No,
okay, yeah.
no,
So
no.
basically,
So basically,
I'm about to cover my ears.
there's a bomb.
yeah, no, but because music hasn't evolved in those 200 years, because I mean, who's creating music in a post-apocalyptic world?
It's the same. They listen to the same shit. So
Yeah, they're listening to the same stuff. So, you know, that's a period piece. But I guess like a more proper example of a period piece would be like a show that happens in the 1800s. Like say there's, or even like a film like Mozart. Obviously, we're not going to have like Drake or like Metro Boomin on top of a period piece about Mozart.
Dan would put it
It would
in
be
there.
kind of hard.
It would. Okay, but here's the other thing. So then the other thing is that with Bridgerton, and Alex worked on this, this is technically not a period piece in music terms because she uses like other artists, like for example,
Ariana.
Thank You Next, Ariana Grande. She actually, I think, worked to, I don't know, I don't really know what she did exactly, but I know that she has Thank You Next as a quartet.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And it's a way that connected younger like people to a period drama.
Time period.
Yeah, into a time period because I mean, who wants to listen to Mozart if you're not really into Mozart during that period piece and it's talking about like a drama, you know? But people are going to listen to Thank You Next.
It like also was like kind of made sense for the show since it was like a modern take on that air. You know what I mean? So
it was.
Like, made sense to bring more modern pieces, maybe take it, you know, and I guess de-evolutionize it in terms of music terms and like break 100%. It down to like classical, you know, classical way of making music.
And then like the sonics too, like there's like, I feel like with a lot of the songs that they selected, it's just like you hear like, weren't there like hip hop like drums in some of the mixes?
There kind of was.
That was like cool. Like but do you know if it was her that made that decision or if it was the director? Or?
So typically, a music supervisor and a director will work very, very closely together. Sometimes you'll have directors who really know what they want, but there's certain times that directors also don't know the cost of music. Some directors will think like, oh, this probably won't cost that much, and you know they'll be like, I want to license Led Zeppelin, and we're like, whoo, you got like at least $100K per side for that.
Tier
if it's, like,
A artists.
Yeah, like if it's a film or like $50K per side if it's like a show, because you know, depending if it's for a film or if it's for a TV show, the budget's going to change and the prices for a song are going to change. That's just the way it goes. I mean, even if it's like, you know, if it's an opening title and the director's like, I want the Beatles, and then they give you your budget and it's like only like 20,000 all in, which is like really low. Like say this is like an indie show, right? You got to be like, dog,
that's not happening.
That's not happening. And you're not, and if it does happen from some grace of God, you're not having any other song in here except for the Beatles. But it's just not happening. And so like that's kind of, you know, another role of the music supervisor is to guide the hand of the director and be like, hey, this is possible, this isn't possible. This is option A, B, and C. If this isn't possible, you know, but at the end of the day, like, it really depends on who you're working with. So, like I said, like, there's some creatives that really, really know the genre that they want. And then there's other creatives who allow complete free range. There's some music supervisors now who are so established that it's just kind of knowledge of they're so established, they have a sound, we're hiring you for your sound, for your creativity, for your take. You have free range over what makes the cut of, like, music and whatnot. There have been like scenarios that I've heard of that happening. Is that something that like happens all the time? No, it's a partnership.
So you're working on a few movies right now. I guess we can get into that and maybe take us through the relationship that you've kind of fostered with the directors of these films and how you've approached, you know, creating the music side of these movies.
Yeah. So for my senior project, I'm working with a director. Her name's Summer Blake. She's such an icon.
Shout out Summer.
Shout out Summer.
Amazing director.
She's so good. Watch her film. So the film, I don't know if I'm allowed to name it, so I'm just not going to name it. But if Summer wants to comment the name, she can. I'm going to leave that up to the director. But she walked in with a few notes of like music. She gave me some films to watch. And from the films that I watched, I heard that she really liked, you know, space within, you know, scenes and stuff like that. She really liked having characters be intimate with each other without sound.
Right.
And that meaning that if sound was there or like music was there, it's very purposeful. And it's there to make you feel a certain emotion. So I had like a script music breakdown session with Summer, which is like where we literally read the script together and we write down like music moments.
This scene needs music.
Yes. Even if it's like coming from a radio. Like, for example, there was a scene where we were talking about a couple in a kitchen. And I'm like, okay, is there a radio in the background? Because I know when I'm cooking in the kitchen, I have like a playlist going.
Right.
Is that something for them? And she's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like, maybe yes. So like now we're thinking about adding a song to the kitchen scene. And even if there's like a radio or like a car stereo, like that decides whether it's going to come from the car stereo or if it's going to be overlaid as like a background vocal. So
and sometimes you can fade
Yes.
in and out of that.
You can. And so that is all stuff that I needed to talk about with Summer, of like, what was her idea? What did she want to convey with the music in the film? So after that, I got the cut for the film, and we went through it, and I started like spitballing a few ideas for music, both licensed and composer. And we started working together based off of that. And it's kind of just like a back and forth between us. She'll like approve the songs that I want to license, or like that I feel are really good to be licensed in the song. And then I'll send out like a music clearance. And then once that clears, we'll put it in, we'll test it out. If it makes the cut, we'll then send out a music license. That kind of seals the deal, saying like, hey, based off of the quote that I gave you in the beginning that we both signed on, this is it, it's happening, we're done. Like, here's the agreement. And so, yeah, so that's how I worked with Summer. But there's another film that I'm working on for another senior project. And her name is Sophia. And Sophia, she's doing a documentary basically about her and the similarities of her life and her grandmother. And she has a very distinct way of creating documentaries. I had watched some of her other documentaries, and the sound that she gravitates towards is very specific. And so I knew with her it was going to be a much more of her being hands-on. Even though like she was like, I trust you, I'm like completely okay with you picking out music and like syncing it up. I then sent her like a playlist that Caleb helped make up, and we sent that to her. And she has like notes back, which I'm probably going to like talk to Caleb after this about. But, you know, that was like a very much more hands-on moment, because she already has like a distinct sound that she wants for her doc.
And you're executing the director's vision.
So there's that. And then there's an indie film that I'm working on that has nothing to do with Drexel. And in that one, I'm an intern, but I kind of work a little bit like a music coordinator in that aspect. There's a music supervisor, so I basically help her, and I keep track of like the cue sheets, the scenes, what has gotten cleared, what hasn't gotten cleared. I send out emails at times, like just asking for updates, quotes, and stuff like that. And then I also keep track of like when clearances have gone out, when licenses have gone out, what has like been done, what's in the box, stuff like that. And yeah, there's just like a lot of organization that comes just because that is a longer film. So like the doc and the drama that I'm working on here at Drexel, that's only like 15 minutes max. Right. This is like a full almost 2 hour film, you know, so there's a lot more time and dedication that goes into a 2 hour film than a 15-minute doc. I mean, or drama, but I shouldn't say like more time and dedication. It's just a longer timeline that I have.
And it kind of makes you like appreciate, you know, when movies get announced, you're like, oh, it's like 2 years away. And then you really think about it, and it's like, well, if it's a 3 hour movie or a 2.5 hour movie, and then you think about everything that goes into the music aspect, and then on top of that, all the effects and actually filming it and screenwriting, it's, you know, it's quite a long process.
Yeah. I feel like making a movie is like one of the like most rewarding yet hardest jobs like ever, but it's just like a beautiful process.
Well,
like when you're in it, I feel like
for Summer and Sophia's, that's a year timeline.
Yeah, like it's,
and I'm like really feeling it too. Like I'm like, whew, down to the crunch. Like last few weeks, we got to get it done. We got to wrap it up, and that's like fast. But when I was at like Netflix, TV, so I worked on TV. So Netflix has 2 teams. I feel bad. I'm like looking at them and I'm not looking at you.
He doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm not.
He doesn't exist.
Okay.
Well, I'm listening. I get yelled at for talking too much.
Yeah, now he gets yelled at for listening.
Let me pay attention.
All right, fine. I'll let you cook. Anyways, so Netflix has 2 teams. They have a team dedicated of music creative and production films, and then they have music creative and production original series. Right. So that's what the internship is. Yep. And I actually like that it's series, because with series A, there's more like shows, because there's different genres of shows. Like you have like spectacle and events, you have drama, you have comedy, you have like, and there's even a whole other team for animation. So like that's not even with us. Why am I saying us? I don't work there anymore. Anyways, so like that's like with them, you know? And so basically the way that it works is with shows, there's a faster turnaround because it's per episode.
Yeah.
And so like you're working episode per episode, like trying to get it all out, and depending on like how it's gonna, you know, go out, whether it's gonna be one episode at a time that it drops or like the full season, that I'm sure changes stuff.
Right.
Versus a film, you have like a whole timetable like right here set out in front of you, and you know like how it's gonna go about, and so like you work on that film and you work on that one film. Whereas on series, you're probably working on like, if you're in the comedy section, you're probably working on like 3 or 4 at a time. And that was like when I was there during the strikes. They probably have like a lot more on their hands now. But yeah, there's like a lot of projects that they're circling around. And at Netflix, they're not music supervisors. They're music executives.
Right.
So they're at like the top of like overseeing everything that happens, and so it's a lot of work, and as a music supervisor you're probably working on a lot of stuff too. I mean, for a film, I know that the music supervisor I'm working with, interning with, that's her only project as of right now, because it's a lot. It's a film.
You're coordinating composing hours, I would assume, and then you also
well, we have like a separate composer for that film, for the indie film, and that's just because there's like so much work to be done for it that like we need a music department. And that's the thing that I really learned at Netflix is like there's a whole music department. Like, so for an example, music supervisors at Netflix, they are onboarded, and then, you know, they're in charge of like finding the music, making sure that everything is buttoned up. But then there's a whole licensing and clearance team. They're called Netflix MCP. Or not, sorry, that's Music Creative and Production. They're called, I think MCL? Yeah, Music Clearance Licensing. So they are literally in charge of like double checking everything and like making sure that like, okay, we're good. This is licensed. This is good. And then they like upload that into their little Netflix system and that like goes up into their Netflix atmosphere of like songs that are in the cleared, and here's, you know, the contracts and everything like that. But there's a lot of players that are involved in just sync.
Yeah.
So
it's a big world.
it is. It's a very big world. A lot of nuance.
Yeah. So what are your favorite like soundtracks that you've been listening to?
Oh, I love this question. Okay, because I watched Fallout, I'm like, yes,
Fallout.
I love Fallout right now. I'm just like I'm really into the oldies.
Yeah.
I love like 80s soundtracks. I'm a huge fan of like Pretty in Pink, any John Hughes film, honestly. I'm like a huge fan of. And it's funny because Alex actually really loves John Hughes films. Yeah. That's actually like one of the first films that I think she told me that like really got her inspired about music supervision. So
I'll get deeper into.
Yeah, definitely talk to her about it. She has a really, really amazing story. I mean, everyone on that team has such an amazing story about how they got there. And I think that's the really cool part about Sync is like everyone has their own reason and their own stories as to.
He did Ferris Bueller's,
right?
Yeah,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Oh my God, like that film has like so many good music.
Breakfast Club too.
Yeah, Breakfast Club. Actually, fun fact about Breakfast Club, the song at the end, like "Don't You," that was actually written for that film.
Fire! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was like actually a thing where
an original song.
It was an original song for that film. So like that song like wouldn't have ever existed if it weren't for the Breakfast Club. I mean, like I'm sure it probably would have, but I don't know like how popular it would have been.
Right. The movie, I feel like the movie was what made it.
Yeah, like same thing with like Back to the Future.
Yeah,
The Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News. That was a song written for Back to the Future. They didn't write that before.
Is that the one that was at the?
Oh, that was when he was on a skateboard. No, that was Johnny B. Good.
Oh yeah.
By the way, Back to the
that's
Future is my
another
favorite movie of all time. But
Really?
But
Can I tell like
what?
a funny story?
What?
I ghosted a guy because he said that his favorite movie was Back to the Future.
Are you serious?
See you,
That's
Caleb.
crazy.
You've been disowned by
What's
the
wrong with Back to
last
the Future?
Okay,
Netflix
well,
internship.
he was way too into it. Like really.
What's his name?
No, I'm not gonna do that.
You know who
Put
you
his number
are.
up on the
You
screen.
know who you are.
No,
Expose him.
no.
Expose him. Expose him.
No, it was just like I mean, every single time we would talk, he's like, but let's talk about Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
crazy.
like, let's talk about the beginning. Just perfectly encapsulates everything that's going to happen in like throughout the film. You know, like the clocks and this. Why are there so many clocks? Because they're going back in time. And I was like,
No shit.
I was like, okay. It was just really like every single time we talked, it was always Back to the Future this, Back to the Future that.
Sounds like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Yeah.
The dude just talks about Back to the Future all the time.
I mean, the movie does have a lot of hidden Easter eggs, though.
Well,
Yeah, let's get into it in great detail.
No,
Next hour.
I'm not getting into that. That's
Next
going-
video on the Hot Off the Stove YouTube is an
Caleb
hour-long Caleb breakdown of Back to the Future.
And Isabella will be
Well,
sitting there the whole time.
There's one viewer. It's Caleb just rewatching it over and over again.
listen, and here's the funny thing too. Like I'm in film studies 203, which is like film history 3.
Mm-hmm.
We watched Back to the Future and we
watched Back to the
studied it. And then I had to tell the class.
Nightmares.
I was like, actually, I gotta be so honest. This film kind of hits. I feel really bad for like
Wait, did they
ghosting
talk
this
about
guy.
the Twin Pine Mall?
Yes, and then
with
the Lone
9
Pine.
That, but then also like the 9/11, like.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs,
There's a
but we're
lot
not
of-
gonna.
How do we get to 9/11 when we're
What's
talking about?
funny?
Actually,
You
fun
had to watch
fact.
the movie again.
Fun
there
fact.
like a
Okay, this is
9/11
actually not a fun
conspiracy?
fact.
Yeah,
But my
there's a lot
parents
of,
found
like-
out that they were
yeah.
gonna have me on 9/11.
What?
Oh, that's crazy.
My parents actually found out that they were gonna have me
Oh.
on 9/11.
Oh, that's
Wow.
bittersweet.
Yeah, my dad was like,
No, that's a hell of a day.
"That is a hell of a day." Like literally, my dad is like, "Twin Towers fall, sadness, crying," and then my mom goes, "So
We're
is
having a
now a
baby."
bad time to say that I'm pregnant?"
That's
And he was
crazy.
like, "You're kidding me right now." And he was like, 2 tragedies today.
Wow.
Nah, but my dad, he's like an icon. I love my dad. My dad and I are so close. He's like the main reason why I'm into music and all
and
that.
film.
Is he also
Yeah.
like in the creative field or?
Yeah, so he actually went to college for fine arts. So
Okay.
he's like an amazing painter,
Fire.
sculptor, all that. But he actually went into like the family business, and he's always just been really passionate about art, film, music. So he was like always showing me stuff at a young age, which always got him in trouble because I would like repeat things as a kid in school, and they'd always have to like bring my dad in and be like, "Listen, we love that you love watching John Wayne films with your daughter." But she came in the other day saying like Indians are bad guys.
Oh my gosh.
And
You're about to get yourself canceled.
listen, I sat on my dad's lap, and like when I was like 4, okay, and I said, "Dad, who are the bad guys in the film?" And he goes, "Well, it's the Indians," because it was cowboys versus Indians.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I went to school, and we were in a circle, and we were talking, and everyone was like, "Okay, let's all talk about where we're from." And this one kid said that he was Indian.
Oh.
And I said, "My daddy says that Indians are the bad guys."
Oh.
That's brutal.
crazy.
That is brutal.
Wait, what was the reaction? I gotta hear. Like, what happened next?
Oh, I was called to the dean's office.
Yeah.
But all the kids probably were like, okay.
Yeah, all the kids
the
like
teacher,
probably
the
were fine
teacher's
with it, like-
face was like,
no, the teacher's face actually was like, and like the other thing, I forget, like, you know the song like "You're Beautiful, It's True," like
by
that
James
one?
Blunt.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one. Well, the original line is like, "And I'm flying fucking high," but on the radio it's "And I'm flying high, and I don't know." Yeah, right. But in the other one, he's like, "I'm flying fucking high." And so I was like in the car, and my dad was playing the non-radio version, which he just didn't notice, and then he just hears in the background, "And I'm flying fucking high."
You're in the back seat.
And my dad's like, "No," and he was like, no, what did you just say? And I was like, "Fucking," and he was like, "Don't say that." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, that's just not what we say." So then later that day I go to school, I go to preschool and I'm doing arts and crafts and I'm singing to myself and I'm going, and I'm flying fucking high.
Yeah.
So I'm like pasting together some
man.
crap saying that I want to be a dentist when I grow up.
There you go.
And my dad got called into the principal's office.
So your dad was at school a lot.
Yeah, my dad
It's
was at
probably
school
a
a lot.
handful, bro.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, do you
Yes.
have any advice to aspiring music industry professionals or music supervisors?
Yeah. I think just like be yourself, honestly, and know that there's a time and a place to use your voice and like speak your opinions. I think the hardest part about being a music supervisor is the collaboration that you have to undergo. And, you know, sometimes you pick out a song that you really believe in and the creative just goes, I'm not feeling it. And you have to understand that at that point, it's not about you. It's about the product. It's about like the film, and you have to do what's best for that show, for that film. And so understanding that it's great to have passion, but when to use that passion, and when to like speak about it, that's all like really, really important. So yeah, I think continue to be passionate, but also continue to know that like there's other people in the room and that collaboration is key, and just being like a good human being, like be nice to others. I think that's going to get you the farthest. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up, I totally forgot. By this time, the episode's released. Luke-
Call me on. I was trying to cry.
Well, do you want to come
Actually,
on?
yeah,
You wanna
I
do
want to
the-
rate
Do it
your
real
fit.
quick. But I was going to say, Luke Santana,
Dropping
EP, dropped.
Sticker.
Sticker.
The sticker, yes.
Check it out if you have a chance. Where Freezy at?
Out now.
Out now, everywhere.
Yes.
7
Song.
brand new songs.
Wow, 7?
Yes.
That's impressive.
With maybe some bonus tracks if you guys like the album.
Yeah, maybe a deluxe loading.
Yeah.
Yes.
So take a listen. Let us know what you think about that.
Mhm.
in the
And
comments.
if you want to hear a little bit behind the EP, check
out
out
our
his
yeah.
episode. What episode is that?
Episode 13
On
He's on
Griffin's
13. Oh,
LinkedIn.
shit, he's on 13.
on my
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yes.
Check out it.
I would
Check
just
it
like to
out.
say a disclaimer. Don't cancel me. I know Indian people are not the bad guys.
No, we're clipping
No,
the
they're
other part.
clipping it. Yeah, clipping
The
it.
No.
episode trailer is going to be Indians are bad.
Yeah. And also is I think the politically correct name is natives, right?
Native
yeah,
Americans.
Yeah, Native
Let's not call them.
Yeah. Well, listen. The political correct terms is natives.
Yeah.
I think the bad guy is Griffin.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick fit check
Yeah,
before
Yes.
we roll out?
Contractually
All right.
obligated. Second
Yes.
angle.
Let's get it. Second angle.
I got to remind him every time.
Yeah. This is an interesting fit here today.
Fucking boring.
Mountains are green.
Mm.
Where you got those shorts
Okay.
from, bro? Let's break it down.
And yeah, that's all we got today.
Yeah.
Well, were you gonna break it down? Like,
He
where- I
does
just
this
asked you, where
sometimes
did
where
you
he
get the
like
shorts
stops
from? Like, where's the-
talking and it's like very
where the shirt
awkward.
from?
And, yeah. I'm gonna say this is like a
Dan's being awkward.
this is
bro.
a 3.5 for me today.
3.5.
3.5. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling Dan's energy. He's too quiet today. for my
Yeah. I
liking.
don't know the shoes, man. The shoes are real bad.
Hey,
I don't think I've ever been on the second angle.
we should all be in it. It's at 0.5.
Oh.
Hello,
Yeah.
Caleb. What are you rating this?
Like a 2.
I gotta
So
give
nonchalant.
I gotta give it like a 2-2.
Oh,
All-time low.
boo! Drop and give me 50.
Wait, is it possible to give a 0?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it is because I'm wearing clothes.
Okay, but that
I
could
think
be.
baseline that's
Fine.
like a 0.2.
Based off of that audio, I would give you a 0, but I can't. So I'll give you a 1.
Nah, that's not going in the clip.
No, that's going. That's going.
When she says 2, I'm gonna put myself go 10.
I'm gonna give it a 10.
I'm gonna
Alright.
do that, and then I'm
Listen.
gonna leave this thing too.
If you had some like more drip with the shoes, maybe it would be like a 4.
4.
I think the
5?
shoe's hard.
Yeah,
It's just like
the Gorp Core. You're overdoing it, buddy.
but it
You're
matches
overdoing
with the
it.
aesthetic though.
That's
has some
true. Like
mountains on the
mountain
shirt.
climbing, I didn't think about that. I didn't put two
Yeah,
and two
it all
together.
goes. It all goes together. kind of.
I'm not fighting for my number here. Like I'll take it too.
Can I show the shirt though?
Oh yeah, show the
What's that?
Freezy
Ooh.
shirt. Show the merch.
Do
The drip,
I get
our new
merch?
drip.
I
Our new
always
drip.
I collect merch.
Yeah, you can get merch if you
You
pay
yeah,
us.
if you pay for it. If you-
Yeah, my Venmo is Dan Flavin.
This is the Wear Freezy shirt.
If it had you know, maybe a peace sign or like flowers. Yes.
Choose your own adventure shirt.
It should be groovy.
yeah,
It should be more
y'all
groovy.
y'all can finish the shirt. Like,
That was so good. Shirts will be available at Sonic Soup May 23rd. Come
Yeah,
watch
you should
everyone
definitely add some
perform. It'll be a
flowers
great time. And we'll get stickers, and we got hats, and we got
Yeah, check it out. Sonic Soup, May 23rd.
Soup. Yes.
Here's the poster. If you see it, can't really see it,
There'll be
but
some
Caleb's
amazing
gonna
artists
throw it
performing,
up.
guys. Definitely pull
Yeah.
up. It's
And
gonna
I'll
be
be
cool.
there.
Yes. You can
Okay,
meet
you
Isabella.
probably don't want to come.
Doors open at 5:30,
Is it doors? Yeah, 5:30.
and music
6.
starts at 6. Yeah, so
Yes.
we'll see you guys there for that. Check out Luke; he'll be there performing live alongside 6 other artists, and it'll be a great time.
Maybe
You could
7.
come and meet us in person,
You're
Yeah.
hot
canceled.
off
Yes,
the
meet and
stove.
What'd you say?
You're canceled for saying that to a mixed kid.
What did I say?
Damn, you got canceled, bro.
That you didn't want to come because I was gonna be there.
Oh no, I was talking about was going to be there.
Sure, buddy.
You going is the only reason I am going.
Sure,
I
buddy.
promise.
Mm.
I'm sorry.
Sure, buddy.
I'm a first generation Latina. Offended.
Yo, can you walk off in shame right now? It's a little taste of your own medicine, buddy. How you like that?
I could play this game all day with you, Griffey. Jack Jackson.
The beef, I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Ay, 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 qué caliente.
Isabella, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks
Yes,
for
thank
having
It's great
me.
talking about music supervision with you, talking about what you're doing in the industry,
Yes.
and good luck.
Thank
and
you.
check out all
Stay
of
over here.
the movies coming out.
Yes.
We'll definitely be highlighting them on the show if my mic stops moving.
Dune was a pretty good one. That was the most recent film
Yes.
I watched.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was slay. That was a slay.
Can you say sleigh for us? A good sleigh.
And then we'll end the episode.
Oh wait, first
Dan,
can
leave
I
me
say
alone, bro.
can I say happy birthday, Luis? Happy birthday, Luis.
Oh,
Say
happy
what
birthday,
that is.
bro.
Happy birthday, Lou.
Happy
Everyone-
birthday.
Is that a Spanish name, Luis?
Yeah, it's my room.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Yeah, happy birthday, Lou. He hates his birthday, so we love it.
Aw, I hate my birthday too. Must be a
Wait,
Latino
where's
thing.
he at? Where is he? Is he 21?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Yeah, we're tearing it down. We're tearing down this city.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bitch, I
Dead.
said what I said.
Dan Barcroll.
Yeah, where this place is going.
All right,
up.
just say slay and then we can end the episode.
All right. Slay, bro. Slay.
no, hit that shit.
Slay.
Slay.